so we are ready for stage 3, and this is where we review our old action steps and what we committed to over that time period. So I'm gonna go first.
Okay, so 2 weeks ago, I committed to working with Kelly Schofield and our 3rd grade teachers on that ownership with the connected text. One of the things that Kelly and I wanted to work on is setting up a time that we could meet to kind of talk about some of those pieces, and so she and I have set up a regular time on Fridays that she'll come to school, or come to Stowe, and then she will kind of talk about some of those ownership pieces and how that really fits into the early lit piece.
And that came from her involvement.
Yes,
in the stand-up
that
from
came
last
from
time.
her involvement. And then I worked with Monica, our 3rd grade teacher. She had some visitors yesterday, and so just kind of working together about really looking at that connective text and how we can make it the most beneficial for her students. And so that was kind of my quick one because we only had a few days. And so I would like to work with Renee and Aaron and just make sure that they're on the same level of, this is why we're using that connected text. Here's kind of the routines that go with that, what's the importance of some of those routines, and just kind of firm that up with them. I guess I talked about new steps too. Sorry.
So mine was on how I can bring the problem of practice during my high needs times of the day. And after we had, this was my post note from 2 weeks prior to 2 weeks ago. And we had talked last time, or a question had been brought up about how would I be able to measure that. And I really thought about, we could measure that with the decrease of radios and the decrease of behaviors during certain times. But then I thought it's only gonna change things for just a little bit. And so I recreated my sticky note, and it's on my desk, but I went into more of finding out who the kids are and what they wanted to be. So I've gone into several classrooms, and I've told just my story about who I was growing up, and I was defined as not my sister, because I always got called Rose growing up. She was only a year older, and so I asked them to really think about who they were and what that meant to them and what that meant to their learning. And so then they got to take a sheet of paper and write like a word. This is a YouTuber, a human. So write, this one just wrote, I'm Dimitrik, Jeffy, crazy and funny. So they kind of got a chance to define who they are, and the teachers got to kind of see what is the trait that they felt is who they are. And then that, I think, bringing that back into then their agency is, what does this mean to how they learn?
And then that's gonna go up on some of our
And
common
yeah.
bulletin boards, so
Yep.
that will be,
Yep.
demonstrate some of our.
So I just continued my goal for, since it was a short time as well, and it was observing in classrooms using the success criteria checklist that we had created a couple weeks ago. I committed to 9 classrooms. I made it to 7 out of 9. And so it's kind of just, the initial was just kind of fine tuning for us, what we're looking for when we're in classrooms. And then that kind of has led to how are we measuring it? What are we noticing as an impact on the students? So that was mine.
And mine was kind of the aha with the action cycle, and so modeling that action cycle beyond just using it for service learning or for taking action in more traditional ways. And so we talked about it at our tier 2 meeting, talked about it with 1st grade and with 5th grade, and showed some examples and talked about different ways to get it into kids' hands and into our thinking of helping that be more transdisciplinary as well. And teachers are already using it, doing some behavior and seeing that more integrated into the day.